The book of Luke 22:31. And the Lord said, Simon, Simon, behold, Satan has desired to have you, that he may sift you as wheat. Before I get on with this video, I want to give all praises to Yahweh Bahashim Yahweh Shai. Double honors to the apostles, bishops, and elders of Great Millstone. And truly, may Yahweh Bahashim Yahweh Shai's peace be bestowed unto you, hopefully elect. And your brother Yahweh Call from Great Millstone, Orlando. Don't necessarily know what I'm going to title this as of yet, as there is a lot going on concerning prophecy. There's a lot going on concerning the body. There's just a lot going on, and the Spirit just had me to start off with that in Luke 22:31, because Satan, the spiritual demon Satan, he's making his rounds, going into that sifting as it goes into to agitate one's faith. And being that, especially in the times that we're coming in now, faith is so precious. Like Yahushua said, by the time that he comes, will he find faith on earth? Which again, it goes to show you how precious our faith is, because at the end of the day, that's all it boils down to. That's what it's coming to. As we're being exercised, we've been exercised, we're being exercised, and we're definitely coming into a time of putting on the full armor. But with all that being said, Yahweh Bashima Shavratazah, we are of that number. Because as this world continues to fade away, and we are looking until that day dawn, all right, that day star, which is Yahweh Shai, all right, Lord willing, 2026, man, we're coming into the perfect storm. I'm gonna grab this. Apostle Tahar said it the other day, man. He said something along the lines of, "25 years ago, man, Apostle Tahar, he said it. He wished he wanted this bitch to be over 25 years ago, 25 plus years ago, man." Right? But I always say the water Yahweh Bashim Shai giving us sound leadership. All right. Especially when it comes to younger brothers such as myself. It's like, what do we have to complain about? Men that have dedicated their whole lives. And of course, no one drunk that cup more than Yahweh Shai himself. So, of course, patience is equated to suffering. The two are synonymous. But it's just a waiting game at this point. Because again, man, Lord willing, Yahweh Bashim Shah, man, hey, well, that's why I got this here in Psalm 130. Psalm 130. I'm going to start at 5. I wait for the Lord. My soul doeth wait, and in his word do I hope. Because pursuant to that Romans, the 8th chapter, being subject to hope. Here it is, we're at the end of the end, and Jake is changing up the doctrine. Here it is, we're at the end of the end. As a nation of people, we caught all this hell. Individually, we catching all this hell. But here it is, we're at the end of the end, and according to these Israelites, the Heavenly Father just changed his mind. And that will make the Lord a liar, all right? As the scriptures say, the Lord is not one to be mocked, roughly paraphrasing. Because at the end of the day, all we have is his word. That's all we have. All we have is Yahweh Bashim Shai coming through on what he said he was going to do. And this is what we hope in. This is our hope, our lively hope at that. Verse 6, it says, my soul waiteth for the Lord more than they that watch for the morning. I say more than they that watch for the morning. So as I quoted Apostle Tahar, and the rest of the apostles and bishops, man, elders, man, waited years, but of course that's the good attitude to have, the good spirit to have, man, hasting, because again, this world is definitely vanishing away. We hear the news about the wars and rumors of wars, right? This thing with China supposedly stopping the imports of silver, which that would be a strategic blow to America, because with that being said, when you go into what they call cornering the market, all right, and there's another thing of supply and demand, just things like that, because with the supply and demand, cornering the market, supply and demand, all in all, that would create hyperinflation, right, and things of that nature. Now, of course, and that's why we have comfort. All right, again, being subject to hope. Yahweh Ba'ashem Al Shai, he made promises that in the midst of this chaos, if the elect would eat, the Lord would have certain provisions for the elect. You see, and it gives us that hope, that lively hope, because when it's all said and done, and all hell breaks loose, and things of that nature, that's why when it's all said and done, the elect are going to have a certain spirit on them of stability, right, and things of that nature. Because for one, we were already forewarned and foretold of these things, and it's not going to catch us off guard. Again, we look forward to it. If anything, we look forward to it. Now, of course, when we're younger in the faith, we ask all these questions. We play out these scenarios in our head. Jake is all worried, right? That it would get built up. We're being built up to a point to where, hey, all we got is Yahweh Ba'ashem Al Shai. Again, subject to hope. All we got is Yahweh Ba'ashem Al Shai, right? Psalm 142. Psalm 142 and 4. I looked on my right hand and beheld, and there was no man that would know me. Refuge filled me. No man cared for my soul. I'll just read that. In the NLT, I look for someone to come and help me, but no one gives me a passing thought. No one will help me. No one cares a bit what happens to me. So, hey, it's a lonely walk, a walk of solitude. And make no mistake about it, man. Because and people could see it more and more. Because brothers are clocked out, really. Brothers are tapped out. But all we have is Yahweh Ba'ashem Al Shai. You got people, man, your family, loved ones, hell, even the damn dog. They can see that brothers' spirits are diseased. Or brothers' spirits are in distress. And as much as you want to confide, seek comfort or whatever, really all we have is brothers. All we have is Yahweh Ba'ashem Al Shai, and we get that comfort through brothers, because these people, they don't know what the men of the Lord feel. As the scriptures say, thinking not strange when you fall into these diverse temptations. Because all of Israel deals with hell. All Israel catches hell, but the elect are a special breed, they are, like they say in the world, cut from a different cloth, right? So with that, Yahweh Bashem Shai really puts his men through a special type of hell, a special type of trials and tribulations, specifically catered for them, to where the average Israelite wouldn't be able to deal with what the men of the Lord deal with. And that's why it is a company of prophets, so these people won't understand, but that's all right. As I read here, all we have is Yahweh Bashem Shai. And I always say, man, the Lord has us right where he wants us to be. The Lord has us right where he wants us to be. Because, again, everything is writing on us. Everything is writing on the names of Yahweh Bashem Shai. Everything. Brothers don't got nothing. Brothers don't got nothing but Yahweh Bashem Shai. The world has everything but Yahweh Shai, Yahweh Bashem Shai. All we don't got nothing but Yahweh Bashem Shai. And that's all right. That's all right. And that's why, again, Satan is making his rounds. Satan is making his rounds. So, with that being said, of course, staying prayed up, because the Lord is definitely dealing. All right. I'm going to grab this to speak of Peter. I'm going to grab this. Bear with me. In Matthew, just making this point real quick, as we know the account. Slakia, I said Matthew, I meant Mark 14. Mark 14. I'm going to start at 66. And as Peter was beneath in the palace, because Slakia, real quick, I'm going to go to this. I'm going to come back to that. I'm going to go to this in Amos 9. Amos 9:9. For lo, I will command, and I will sift the house of Israel among nations, among all nations, like as corn is sifted in the sea. Yet shall not the least grain fall upon the earth. All right, so again, as we see, Yahweh Bashem Shai is definitely shaking that pot. All right. He's shaking the cage, rattling the cage. I meant to say stir the pot. The Lord is definitely shaking the cage, shaking things up, right? Like it says in Isaiah 19, Isaiah 19. Isaiah 19:16. In that day shall Egypt be like unto women, and it shall be afraid and fear because of the shaking of the hand of the Lord of hosts, which he shaketh over it. So again, ultimately, only the Lord can shake his pot. It's the Lord's pot, only he can stir it. But Yahweh Bashem Shai, the Spirit of the Lord is definitely moving. All right. I remember me and the head brother Mahoya, some time ago, we did a video, in transit video, man, just going into how the Lord is putting finishing touches up on a Picasso, and Jacob's a perfectionist, and we're being made perfect through suffering. So that's why as we get closer to the end, it's going to hurt more, because the Lord is perfecting his saints. We're being perfected in the Spirit. So the Lord is putting his finishing touches up on his Picasso. So that's why it hurts more. All right, as we get closer and closer, it hurts more. What was that? Going back to Mark, making this point, because I've been thinking about this for a while. So I'll just bring it out now. Because it's a constant thing of a peaks and valleys, right? Ups and downs, right? But it's all a part of the process. Mark 14 and back in Mark 14:66, Bear with me. Slakia. I read Amos 9 already. Because, when you read that Amos 9, going into the house of David, the Lord's closing up the breaches thereof, which is spiritual, because for those that have ears to receive, Peter, King David, they're the same individuals. So, Lord willing, if we're of that number, all right, being of the hopeful elect, well, hey, this is what we expect. Mark 14 and 66. And as Peter was beneath in the palace, there cometh one of the maids of the high priest. And when he saw Peter warming himself, when she saw Peter warming himself, she looked upon him and said, And thou also wast with Yahushua of Nazareth. But he denied, saying, I know not, neither understand I what thou sayest. And he went out into the porch, and the cock crew. And the maid saw him again and began to say to them that stood by, This is one of them. And he denied it again. And a little after, they that stood by said unto Peter, again to Peter, Surely thou art one of them. For thou art a Galilean, and thy speech agreed thereto. But he began to curse and to swear, saying, I know not this man of whom ye speak. And the second time the cock crew, and Peter called to mind the word that Yahushua said unto him, before the cock crowed twice, thou shalt deny me thrice. And when he thought thereon, he wept. So the point being that, because Peter, man, he was one of those zealous, I'll never leave you, Lord, right? That's why, as I read before, Peter caught himself trying to rebuke the Lord. You had that hot, zealous spirit. I'll never, ride or die spirit, But when it came down to it, Yahweh Shemal Shai, he had to break Peter. He had to humble him, And then when you read the account, when it came time for Peter's death, he didn't even want to be found worthy to be crucified like Yahweh Shai, Because he broke Peter. And that's the point, all right? After this, Peter was broken, you see, and just making a point, man. Again, a part of the process, Yahweh Shemal Shai, he constantly breaks us to build us back up. So that's why it hurts. That's why it hurts. Again, brothers going through it. Pretty much, man, the body's under attack. But as I read, we're to a point where all we have is Yahweh Shemal Shai, man. And that's why I always say, the Lord has us right where he wants us. I say this every day, man. Lord, you got me right where you want me. Because, again, living that life of solitude, being soldiers for Hamashiach, that life of solitude, man, it's like, at the end of the day, I don't give a damn about none of this shit, man. I don't give a damn about none of this. I don't care about nothing. I don't care about nothing, man. But the Lord, just playing my part, for brothers, for the body. I don't care about nothing else, dog. I don't care about nothing else. Just numbed out. Again, right where the Lord wants us to be, numbed the fuck out. So all we have is just, we're subject to hope, subject to the name of Yahweh Shemal Shai. That's our hope, man. That's our best bet. And the Lord stands undefeated, so he's brought us this far. He's brought us this far, and it's not in vain. It's not for no reason. We just have to hold on and maintain. So of course, man, just stay prayed up, man. Of course, just staying prayed up. All right. Just let the Lord work. Let the Lord do his thing. Before we know it, man, we're going to be up out of here. Things are going to be different. Again, brothers are dealing with a lot. But I'm speaking to myself. A lot of these videos, of course, they're therapeutic. But not getting entangled into the affairs of this life, man. Not getting choked up, man, by the bullshit problems of this world. Because, another thing I say, if it means nothing to Yahweh Shemal Shai, and best believe it don't mean nothing to the Heavenly Father. And with that being said, by default, it shouldn't mean anything to us. And of course, it's easier said than done, but hey, it all starts with a mindset, having a certain mindset, having a certain mindset, so kingdom minded, bigger picture. All right. Before you know it, man, this shit's gonna be over with, man. But just a few words, Lord willing. Again, brothers are going through it, man. We just got to keep on to it. You got to endure. As the scripture say, he that endureth until the end, the same shall be saved. So Lord willing, this was edifying. Giving all praises to Yahweh Bashim Al Shai. Shalom to you, hopefully elect.